So you are just giving your first steps into HomeKit, but you don't really know what you should do when we talk about building from scratches a smart home. What is the steps that I would definitely recommend you to follow so you don't mess up? If you want to know everything about it, stay tuned until the end of the video. Hi everyone, Marcus here from madpack, and if you love tech and if you love discounts, this is the place for you. So understand that it's really important that you get a good foundations for your smart home. And no, I'm not talking about the hub. I'm talking about your Wi-Fi. Yes, I recommend you to purchase mesh Wi-Fi. If you decided to don't go with a mesh Wi-Fi in the beginning, be aware that even if you choose products with Thread, you continue to rely on a Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz. So understand that when more products you connect to your Apple HomeKit and to your smart home, more chances you'll have that you'll start having issues with your Wi-Fi, even maybe just to see some Netflix. If in the future you decide to add on to your smart home a mesh Wi-Fi, understand that it's really important that you put the same name to the new Wi-Fi and the same password. That will reduce issues that you'll have connecting a specific sensor, like for example this one, to this new Wi-Fi, but sometimes it's not enough and you'll have to restart from scratches. The next things that I recommend you to have a look is which cables of Ethernet you have connected in your house. And I'm not just saying the one that comes from the outdoor and connects to the Wi-Fi, but even if you have a computer and is connecting from one of your mesh to your computer, see if that cable is Cat 7. If not, purchase, because if you buy a Cat 7, that one can support up to 1 gigabytes per second. Another thing that I really recommend you if you own your own house is to move the main Wi-Fi. So if you decided to go to a mesh, obviously you'll have different ones in different parts of your house, but the one that is connected to the internet that comes from the outside, put it the more central as possible in your house. That will increase the chances to have a good cover of internet in your house, but if you can't, try to put that router in a high floor, so in that case you have more chances to have a good connectivity. Obviously, to have Apple HomeKit you'll need your hub, and that can be a HomePod mini, one of the new HomePods, the new Apple TV 4K, or even you can use your own iPad, but as I explained on the other video with all the terminologies that I will definitely recommend you to have a look if you are just starting on HomeKit, I will definitely recommend you to skip the iPad and buy one of these three options that I just gave to you. If you are just starting your new Apple HomeKit, this should be the first thing that you'll install inside the app. Remember, this is all related with connectivity, so if you connect a light before you even connect your hub, you normally will get some errors and some automations that they will not work properly. Also, without a hub, you will not be able to connect to your home through your phone because all the information is encrypted. If you want to make automations, you definitely need to have a hub, otherwise you can't create any automations. And the beauty of HomeKit is to create automations to make your life easier. Now that you know the foundations about Apple HomeKit, it's important that you start understanding a bit more about the products that you have available. Not only the brands, but also the kind of products that you have available, the kind of connectivities. So if you don't know also that, I'll definitely recommend you to check the other video that I've done where I teach you all these kind of words and you will understand better what I'm talking about. Also, if you are just starting and if you are looking to products available on the market, before purchasing, I will try to see if that product is available with Thread technology, and if you don't know what that means, I've done that other video where I explain all these terminologies. One thing that I have already recommended in previous videos is if you have an Apple store close to you, go to an Apple store to see which brands they sell in store, because that gives you a reassurance that that product works well with Apple HomeKit. These two brands are definitely brands that I work with and that they work with Apple for a long period of time, and for that reason I can completely recommend to purchase these two. Also, another thing that I normally recommend is to avoid multiple different brands inside the same room. Remember, when you try to build up your automations, it's important that you reduce as much as you can those brands in that specific space, because they will have to interact with each other. So if one is not really compatible with another, that's a big issue. So the same way that we talk about Wi-Fi and it's important to don't change the name of that Wi-Fi, the same happens to the scenes. If you follow me, you know that Halloween Fever is my breakfast scenes. I will never change this name to breakfast, because if I do that, normally you'll start having issues because that lamp will not know that is to connect to breakfast, because it still thinks that it needs to connect to Halloween Fever, if it makes sense, even if you change the name. So if you decided to change the name, I'll definitely recommend you to restart fresh that scenes. And if you have a lot of lights and stuff, before you start building that one, I recommend you to just select the one that you want to use, in this case Halloween Fever, and after starting to build the new scenes, because in that way, when you press those lights, they have already the color and the percentage that you want for that specific scene. So it's going to be quicker and easier for you to build that scenes from scratches once again. To do some stuff inside Apple Homekit, you need also to install the app of the brand. So in this case, I'm inside the app of Nanoleaf, and some of the things are not possible to make inside Apple Homekit. So if I enter inside this scene that, like I explained before, this is my breakfast time, if you look to the wall and if I press, you can see that it's just white. And if I go to the Nanoleaf, that is also just white. But none of the TV or the wall is just a white color in there. So for that, I'll have to go on the app of Nanoleaf, and if I go on the Halloween Fever group scenes, you can see that the living room here have this black wall that have a different, you have the Halloween Fever, one that is very similar, but it's called Autumn Leaves. And if you look here, the extra, that is a different story. This one is called Vibrant Sunrise. So inside the same room, I have 3 different scenes, but to control them, the only way that I can program is not inside Apple HomeKit, but inside Nanoleaf app. Do majority of the things inside Apple HomeKit, because in that way you have more chances that your smart home will work well. Do I need to just stick to a brand, in this case Nanoleaf or Goovy, because these two brands, they are basically competing against each other all the time. This case is the Goovy TV Backlight T3 that I have already reviewed on the channel, and this one is the Nanoleaf 4D. And also, if you are looking to purchase one of these lights, I have also reviewed on the channel. If you love Goovy and if you love Nanoleaf, try to make one room that will be Goovy lights, and in another room just think about having Nanoleaf products. In other words, you are going to put more products of Goovy communicating with each other, and in the other room you have more products of Nanoleaf communicating with each other. So the problem is not to have in the same house, but having in the same room, because after you need to create some automations with that specific room, and that can start giving you issues if you start having too many different brands trying to do exactly the same. Another thing that I recommend you to do is trying to understand which brands works closely with each other. So in this case, Nanoleaf and Eve, many times they have like bundles that you can buy the products of these 2 different brands together. So that gives you reassurance that if you want to purchase, for example, the sensors of Eve, they are going to match well with Nanoleaf. So before you start thinking to purchase more and more products and more products and more products, you should start to think which ones you want, which brands are the best ones for you. And the best way to do that is by searching online and see what that brand have to offer, and if it covers what you want. Is that brand good for me? Which kind of products are you searching? Is it a light, a sensor? Because remember, many of them will need hubs and bridges. When more brands you buy, more hubs, bridges you will need, and when more you buy, more risk you have that your smart home is not so smart. Don't start buying everything that says works with Apple Homekit or Matter compatible. Sometimes that bulb, imagine, doesn't have the same processor in the inside, so you will not be so happy. Many of them, they can have this, but they will not have thread. For me, that's not negotiable. I prefer to have a thread compatible product than having one that it doesn't have. If all these names are really weird for you and you are not comfortable with, I've done this video that I'll definitely recommend you to have a look. My name is Marco, this is madpack. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment below, smash the thumbs up, do whatever you want, but always with a smile on your face. And I hope to see you in the next one.